Hi everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to Global Education's Virtual Study Expo. Very happy to have you all here. Let me just share my screen with you. There we go. So happy to have you here. Very excited to be joined by my esteemed colleague, Paul Buist, who is based at the moment in Perth in Australia. He is our representative and colleague from the University of Western Australia. Western Australia is a world top 100 university and is the only Western Australian university in the prestigious group of 8. Paul is going to be taking us through and guiding us through all of the amazing opportunities that this university has to offer for all of us, for all of our wonderful students. Paul has had more than 30 years of experience in higher education, and we're very, very grateful to have him on call with us today. So we are Global Education. Global Education is an agency, an education agency, and we assist students with start to finish of the application process. We start the application for you until we get you enrolled at your university of choice. And one of our partners today, University of Western Australia. So Paul, I'm going to leave it all up to you. Thanks for having us today and thanks for being part of this. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box and we will answer all of your questions toward the end of this presentation.
Thank you. Now, if I could just share my screen.
Okay.
I might be able to. Here we go. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone, and good evening here from Western Australia. Welcome to the University of Western Australia's information session. I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for joining this session today. My name is Paul Buist. I'm the International Relationship Manager for Africa at the University of Western Australia. Now, as is customary before any event in Western Australia, I'd like to begin with an acknowledgement of country. The University of Western Australia acknowledges that its main campus is situated on Noongar land and that Noongar people remain the spiritual and cultural custodians of their land and continue to practice their values, languages, beliefs and knowledge. And I acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging. So what I'm going to do first of all is to give you an idea of the university campus. This is just a short video. It runs for about 40 seconds and it's taken from a drone flying above the university. So you can get an idea what the campus actually looks like. Oops, too far. As you can see, it's a very beautiful campus and very picturesque. Now, pictured on your screen now is our main Crawley campus, which sits between Kings Park and Matilda Bay. There's cafes and classrooms on campus that overlook the Swan River that runs right along the edge of campus. It's very easy to find the campus from the city centre. It's less than a 10-minute drive from Elizabeth Quay train and bus station. And the bus from Elizabeth Quay station goes directly to UWA every few minutes. And international students actually get a 40% discount on their travel on public transport, on buses, ferries and trains. Now, if you go the other way from campus down the Stirling Highway, you'll get to Cottesloe Beach, which is about a 10-minute drive. Now, of all the capital cities in Australia, only Perth and Sydney have oceanfront beaches, and they're magnificent beaches as well. So it's all, when you come to Perth, it's always something to look forward to going to the beach. Now, just across the road from the main campus, we have 5 residential colleges, otherwise known as College Row. And our UWA Health campus is less than a kilometre away, just up the road from the main campus. Now, I'm joining you today from Perth in Western Australia. So if you have a look at the diagram on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see where Perth is situated. And it's the capital and largest city of Western Australia, and it's the nearest Australian city to Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. We're located in the GMT, Greenwich Mean Time +8 time zone, which is the same time zone as approximately 30% of the world's population. But approximately 60% of the world's population live plus or minus 2 hours or 2.5 hours actually from the Perth time zone. So it's actually a great place to live because there's where a lot of people are on that time zone, but it's also a great place to do business as well. Now, this is also a great advantage for you as you can stay connected to home and easily in touch with family and friends. In addition to this, Perth's a growing city, and generally where there's growth, you have opportunity. Perth has a population of 2.1 million people, and that has doubled over the last 40 years, and it's predicted to go past 3 million by 2030. It's actually the 4th largest city in Australia. We have a very robust economy, partly because of the population growth, but also we have a strong natural resources sector. The one very positive result from the population growth and the strong economy is higher than average wages. And the average annual income in Western Australia is about 8% above the national average, including the likes of Melbourne and Sydney. And that's fantastic news for graduates who want to stay on and work in Perth and get a post-study work visa. Now, Perth's very affordable as well. And it's got the lowest accommodation costs of any Australian capital city, and also the lowest living cost of a major Australian city as well. This adds up to make Perth a very easy place to live. Now, Perth is very safe, it's friendly, and it's a welcoming city. And it was recently ranked as the 6th most livable city in the world in the 2021 edition of the Economist Intelligence Unit's Global Livability Ranking. Perth also is renowned for its lifestyle. It's the sunniest capital city in Australia. And so therefore, there's very much an outdoor lifestyle. People really like to do things out in the sun and not cooped up indoors. The climate is ideal. It's not very humid. It's mainly dry with a very good air quality, which has resulted in Perth being ranked as one of the top 10 healthiest cities in the world. Now, many people are unaware of the size of the state of Western Australia. Now, most of the land area of Western Europe actually fits into the land area of Western Australia. That will give you an idea of the size. And it's the 2nd largest state or province in the world. Now, Western Australia is very mineral rich and has huge mining and petroleum industries. Now, in terms of the university itself, the University of Western Australia is one of 5 universities in Perth. It's the oldest institution in Western Australia, and it was established over 100 years ago. UWA is the only university in Western Australia to be ranked in the top 100 universities in the world. It's a member of the prestigious group of 8 universities, which is a coalition of the best or the top 8 research-intensive universities in Australia. So this will also give you an idea of the excellent teaching quality you receive as a student at UWA. We also have more than 4,500 global industry partnerships, and we're #1 in Western Australia for graduate employability. So why would you choose to study at an Australian university? Well, Australia may be a relatively small country in terms of population, but Australia has been world leaders in education for some time. Now, according to the University College of London Centre for Global Higher Education, Australia may soon take over from the UK as the world's 2nd most popular study destination for students, just behind the US. Now, in the recently released academic ranking of world universities, UWA ranked 96th in the world overall, and in the top 50 in the world in 11 different subject areas, and 1st in Australia in 5 subject areas. Our graduates include a Nobel Laureate, a Fields Medal winner, a Prime Minister, and many business and political leaders. Now, our student, excuse me, our student population is very diverse, and they come from all different countries in the world, something like 110 different countries. So that gives you an idea of the mix, the ethnic mix of the students that we have. We're a very diverse nation, Australia, and Perth is becoming a very, very diverse city. We have more than 25,000 students enrolled. We have 457 global partnerships. And we have approximately 6,500 international students. And our staff are also very diverse, coming from 76 different countries. And every year there is a student satisfaction survey, and international students voted 79.5% of them voted they had a positive experience at the University of Western Australia. Now, we have a great reputation for research. Listed on the left there are our strategic research areas, but I'd like to highlight the photo in the bottom right-hand corner. That is Professor Barry Marshall. He won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2005. He was born in Kalgoorlie, which is in the centre of Western Australia, did his medicine degree at UWA, and did most of his research for his Nobel Prize at UWA. He won the Nobel Prize for detecting a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori, which gives people stomach ulcers. This research was groundbreaking at the time, and many of the medical profession refused to believe it because they were of the belief that no bacteria could actually live in the stomach because of all the stomach acids. And to prove them wrong, he mixed up a solution of the Helicobacter and drank it, and he ended up with stomach ulcers. But he also developed an antibiotic treatment to treat it. So it was a dangerous thing to do, but he managed to treat it as well. And then his research is now taking him to detect more gastrointestinal cancers. And he believes, the belief is that the Helicobacter is actually responsible for many gastrointestinal cancers as well. So he's a very, very learned man, and he's still lecturing and doing research at UWA. So our structure at the university has changed a little bit in the last 12 months. We have abandoned a faculty structure, and we now have a college of schools. We have 22 different schools across the university. And this has come about so that students, it's more open and more clear to students about what we actually offer, and not only with the subject areas they can study as undergraduates, but also the research areas. Now, UWA was founded in 1911, and we took our first students in 1913. We're the oldest university in Western Australia and the 6th oldest in all of Australia. And we have a very vibrant student community. Something like 26,000 students total, comprising of 16,000 undergraduate, 8,000 postgraduate coursework, and 2,000 research students. We offer a wide range of bachelor's degrees. Formerly, we had the Bologna structure where we offered very few bachelor degrees, where students could actually do a selection of something like 70 or 80 different majors. But we've now changed the structure so that students now can do a vast variety of different degrees with a vast variety of different majors within each degree. So many of these new undergraduate courses will be available from semester 1, 2022. In 2021, we introduced a new concept whereby students could do a combined bachelor's and master's. So what happened was, normally if a student does a bachelor's and then a master's, it takes 5 years. We have shortened it to 4 years in these new combined degrees. So these are some of the subjects that are available in the combined bachelor and master's degrees, but there is far more to come, and there'll be more available in 2022. We also have scholarships for high-performing students. These scholarships are called our Global Excellence Scholarships. and South African students are eligible for these scholarships. What what students need from an undergraduate for undergraduate degrees, we have 4 different levels. So we have $5,000, $7,000, $9,000, and $12,000, and this is per annum. So it comes directly off a student's fees. Now, for students doing the South African high school curriculum, we count your best 6 subjects and not including life orientation. Now, to get the $5,000 scholarship, you would need approximately a 70% average, 72% for 7,000, 77% for 9,000, and 79% for $12,000. Now, for postgraduates, we also have similar scholarships. Again, they're on the same level, but in your bachelor's degree, you would need a weighted average mark of between 70 and 74.99 for 5,000, 75 and 79.99 for 7,000, 80 to 84.99 for 9,000, and 85 and above for 12,000. Again, these are per annum. These scholarships will stay with you for the life of the degree. So if you're doing a 3-year bachelor's degree, you have the scholarship for 3 years. If you have doing a 2-year postgraduate degree, you have the scholarship for 2 years. Now, we also have sports scholarships. We have our Global Excellence Sporting Scholarships. They are the same levels as I mentioned before in the undergraduate and postgraduate study, and the same academic qualifications. The difference is, in the Global Excellence Scholarships, your application will automatically be assessed by our admissions team. For the Global Excellence Sporting Scholarships, you actually have to put an application. You have to put your sporting CV in, our Sports Association will assess your application. Now, if you are awarded a Global Excellence Sporting Scholarship, as well as the discount on your fees, you'll also get specialist coaching. There's a lot of different things available in the sports area for students selected. If you're in a team sport, you'll be selected in a UWA team. If you're in an individual sport, they'll arrange competitions for you. And also you'll be eligible to join our elite athlete program, and that will help you with your studies in case you're called away for competitions or for intensive training. This will all be taken into account. So it's very worthwhile, and excuse me, and most sports, nearly all Olympic sports and quite a few other sports are included in this Global Excellence Scholarship. I know that many South Africans are interested in rugby and cricket and hockey, and we have all of those sports plus many others, and certainly athletics and swimming as well. So as I mentioned before, UWA is ranked in the top 100 universities. Now, we're ranked in the top 100 in 2 different ranking systems. The first one is the World Ranking of Universities, otherwise known as the ARWU. And these rankings come out recently, and we're 96th in the world. And we're first in the top 50 in many disciplines, which I've listed here, and also first in Australia in 5 separate disciplines. Now, we're also ranked in the top 100 in the QS rankings. We're ranked 93rd overall. And again, we are also in the top 50 and top 100 in a number of different areas. So the fact that we're ranked in the top 100 in 2 different ranking systems gives you the confidence that we are actually a top university. Now, we have the choice of accommodation on campus. We have 5 separate residential colleges, which are situated just across the road from the main campus of the university. Now, each of these provides 3 meals a day, or there's actually several different packages that students can have as far as their meals are concerned. What has become very popular is that the students are given a smart card and they purchase however many meals they want. And also that gives the students, and they just swipe when they go into the dining room. That gives students options. If they want to go out for a meal, they can, and they're not having to pay for a meal also at the college. But also sometimes if you've got lectures over lunchtime, they can arrange a lunch for you so that you don't have to find your way back to the college. All the accommodation that we have is fully furnished and internet enabled. And there's a lot of shared facilities, including computer labs, photocopiers, and the recreation rooms. Many of the colleges have what they call event nights. So if there's a big sporting competition on, particularly when the World Cup soccer was on, students from the particular nationality from the teams that are playing would organise food from that from their particular country, and make a night of it for everybody in the college. They were really, really great events. Now, the campus, as you've seen in the previous video that I showed you, is very picturesque. And we actually got a mention in TripAdvisor. They called the University of Western Australia a university worth seeing, even if you're not a student. So it was worth travelling for. We have over 100 different affiliated clubs and societies on campus. Now, for international students, this is really important. One of the really important things for an international student is to be able to make friends, to be able to meet people. And these clubs and societies are a great way of doing it. Now, the clubs and societies are based on different things. Some are based on nationality, like to be a Malaysian student society, for example. Some of them are based on sport. Some are based on just interest. There's even a chocolate society for those like eating chocolate. So there is just so many things that you can actually do. And like I said, it's just a great way to meet people from all over the world. As I mentioned before, our students come from 110 different countries. We also have more than 160 student exchange agreements with universities around the world. Students who are international students can go on exchange. So that means if you're from South Africa, you come to UWA to do your course. For undergraduates in second and third year, you can go on either a 1 semester or a 2 semester exchange. You might want to go to the US, you might want to go to Europe, you might want to go to somewhere in Asia. As long as we have an agreement with that university, it's fine. For postgraduates, they're normally limited to 1 semester because it's only a 2-year degree. But again, exchange is possible for both undergraduate and postgraduate students. We also had some fantastic graduates from our university. As we've been around for 100 years, you'd expect that some of our graduates have achieved some pretty amazing things. Bob Hawke was our Prime Minister between 1983 and 1991. He was a graduate of UWA and won a Rhodes Scholarship from UWA to study at Oxford. Andrew Forrest, who is one of our great mining magnates and also a very, very generous philanthropist. He's given a lot of money to UWA as well. Professor Bodiono, who was a former Vice President of Indonesia. Rod Eddington, who was a former CEO of British Airways. Nikki Stamp, who is a medical doctor and focuses on women's diseases, especially women's health, heart diseases in particular. Just in the top right-hand corner, I find all this one fascinating. Dr. Asha DeVoe, she's doing studies on the blue whale in the Northern Indian Ocean. And yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic. It's the research into such large animals and rare animals too. We also have Sean Tan, who actually won an Academy Award in 2011. Barry Marshall, I've mentioned before. Rick Charlesworth, very interesting character, Rick Charlesworth. He did a medicine degree at UWA. He played hockey for Australia, represented Australia at 4 Olympics. He was a federal MP for 10 years, played Sheffield Shield cricket for Western Australia, and coached the women's hockey team to 2 gold medals at the Olympics. So, you know, he's achieved quite a lot in his life. Tim Minchin, who is a comedian, actor, musician, and songwriter. And Cheryl Prager, who's one of Australia's leading mathematicians. So that gives you an idea of the vast variety of different graduates that we've had and different fields that they've been successful in. So if you want to get in contact with us at the university, the email contact is there in the bottom left-hand corner. That's international@uwa.edu.au. You can apply through the university website, but Global Education will certainly help you with your application, and they're ready and willing to help you and give you some sound advice as to what you can actually do and what is the best option for you. Now, that's the end of the presentation, and I'd just like to wind up by saying I hope that the information that I've given you here is informative, and you've got a better idea of what a part of Australia is about, and also the University of Western Australia. And I'm more than happy to answer questions. So if you've got any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and I'll certainly answer as many as I can. So I'll just stop the screen sharing here.
Thank you so much, Paul. It was super informative. And I love that you also mentioned what grade students would need to have in order to qualify for those scholarships, and really exciting new programs that UWA is introducing, especially the Masters Inclusive courses. Excited to see more of those come out as well. So we actually had a question from a student. I do think that you've covered it already, but I think it would be great to go through it again in terms of accommodation. Yep. Once a student is accepted, and they've accepted their offer, accommodation, is it guaranteed?
Okay, the short answer to that is no. What we advise students to do is that don't wait till you get an offer before you apply for your accommodation. You apply for your accommodation the same time you apply for your degree. If you decide not to accept the offer, that's fine. They can just skip over to the next student. But if you leave it too long, you could actually miss out, because the accommodation is actually in pretty high demand. Mm-hmm. So, you know, basically to give yourself the best chance, you know, apply as early as you can.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. So once you've started the application process with us at Global Education, we'll be in touch with the accommodation team at UWA to help you secure your space. So you can come to us with all of the assistance with that. Thanks, Paul. I actually have a few questions that I wanted to ask you. In terms of how students are learning at the moment, offshore students, being that borders are closed, what is the method of delivery for degree students who are starting their degrees, especially now this next intake, January intake?
Okay, what we've done, obviously it's online learning. The unfortunate part for South African students is the time zone is 6 hours, and the classes are delivered normally on Perth time. So it's a little bit out of your time zone. It's not too bad, but it is out of the your normal comfort zone, if you like. But one of the things is we still anticipate the borders being open probably mid-2022. In that case, the students would be allowed to resume their studies. They can certainly commence online. We've had some difficulties with students with lab-based subjects, and what we've done for some subjects, though not all, is split up the lecture and tutorial components from the lab component, and students, when they come back on campus, will do the lab component separately. It's just the reason for that is that the lab component is so crucial, and also it's hands-on. We still do wet labs, so the students, you don't get the same experience doing a lab online, and you can't replicate the hands-on. So we've been trying to keep that as much as we can. For students who commence their studies online, as I mentioned before, the hope is that the borders will be open by mid-2022. Now, I've heard, this is not official, but in order to be able to come to Australia, students would need to be A, fully vaccinated, and B, they would still probably have to serve a 14-day quarantine. Now, the details of all that is still being worked out. So this is what we've been led to believe. Obviously, if there's further major outbreaks, that might push it back a little bit. We're hoping that doesn't happen, of course. But yeah, you probably also have to supply a negative COVID test. So none of this should be a surprise. I think it's what a lot of countries are doing that have opened their borders already. So it would just fall in with those same arrangements. But it's unlikely that our borders are going to be open for semester one, but we're really hopeful it will be for semester two.
Definitely. Well, I think at least it's positive knowing that if you select to start your studies in the first trimester, you're starting online, you'd only be having 6 months of study online out of your 3-year degree. So that's, I think, a small sacrifice to make to come out with a degree from UWA. I wanted to chat a little bit about graduate outcomes. So I know for UWA, it's quite a big deal to help students set up connections or to become graduate ready, work ready after their degree. Can you explore a little bit, expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, certainly. We have a couple of different programs. Some degrees have an internship built in. Like one thing I forgot to mention during the presentation is that as of next year, 2022, our engineering degree is changing. It's going back to the 4-year Bachelor of Engineering. So in a Bachelor of Engineering, in your 4th year, you will be doing a 12-week internship. So you'll be shadowing an engineer, doing what they do on a day-to-day basis, so that when you graduate, you're really ready to go hands-on.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And there's a number of other programs that have what we call WIL, W-I-L, Work Integrated Learning. And for students that are interested in that, they'll need to contact the coordinators of particular subjects and find out what work integrated learning is available. But there is quite a lot of it. Now, work integrated learning doesn't mean internships. It means something entirely different. It means it could have someone from a particular industry come and visit the university and just give you a practical demonstration on the work that they do, and again, it'll be hands-on so that students be participating in that. There's also an entrepreneurship unit which is very popular with the business students, that they've got business ideas, they can take it to this entrepreneurship unit, and they can help them. If they've got a great invention, they can actually help them get it off the ground. For students in business degrees, more so postgraduate than undergraduate, but some undergraduates can use it as well, we actually have a trading room, a fully active trading room in our business school. So there is a lot of really, really practical stuff that we offer, and that really is focused solely on making students job ready as soon as they walk out of the university.
That's amazing. They're not just getting a student experience, an academic experience. They are becoming, desirable to employers in all different faculties and fields. And they also get that amazing UWA Perth experience, a wonderful city to live in. So thank you for expanding on that. That's great to know. I actually have a bit of a question for you, personal question for you with regards to the courses at UWA. I think students leaving school are often informed about the more common subjects, engineering, accounting, law, medicine, the sort of top 5 major courses. Are there any courses that you think UWA offer that stand out to you, that are interesting, that are somewhat different to, the standard?
I think there's a few, like these new courses that we're offering and bachelor's level, plus there's quite a number of courses at the postgraduate level as well. For one of the things that fascinates me personally, and this is a postgraduate course that we offer, is students that can do infectious diseases. Like they might have a background in biological science, biochemistry, or microbiology. And at the moment, with this pandemic going on, we've offered this Master of Infectious Diseases for many, many years, and it's always been very popular. and their graduates have actually gone overseas when actually they were in Africa when the Ebola outbreaks were on, and they actually helped with the epidemiology and the detection of and the treatment of the Ebola outbreaks in Western Africa. So, you know, something like that, and understanding not only the what causes the infections, but doing the mathematical modeling to find out, okay, how far can this thing spread? But also there's political and economic ramifications to it as well, and they need to go through all of that. It's an extremely well-rounded degree, and it's not just, you know, it's not just Ebola. They deal with a couple of different diseases. Obviously, now they'd be looking at COVID, but things like when the HIV was at its peak, they were looking at HIV and quite a number of other diseases. Influenza is still, you know, one of the ones they look at because it strikes all over the world. And so, yeah, there's a lot of different things like that. And I just think it's amazing what they do.
That is, it's a very niche course that I haven't heard of before, and look at how it's coming to fruition now with everything going on.
Yeah, and students who do that course might be lucky enough to get a lecture from Professor Barry Marshall.
Oh, wow. And the notable alumni. Thank you for that. That's really, really good to hear from your perspective, you know, being so experienced in the education field and being with UWA. Thank you for that, Paul. And thank you so much for the presentation today. I think we're about to round up. So if there's anything else that you'd like to say, you know, please take it away.
Just one thing for students that are thinking about an international education, you know, it's probably the biggest decision of your life to this point. And you need as much information as you can get to make an informed decision. So my advice would be, don't be afraid to ask questions. You're perfectly entitled to ask questions. You're trying to make a decision which is going to affect your future. So ask as many questions as you like. And both global education, they can answer a lot of the questions, but if you've got something specific for UWA, they can get in contact with me, and I'm more than happy to answer the questions. But please, you know, don't be in the dark about something. You know, ask the questions.
Definitely. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. And everybody who's joined us, thanks for joining us today. Please feel free to get in touch with us. We will help you with the entire process, collection of documents, the visa process. We're happy to help. That's what we're here for. And so grateful to be partnered with such amazing institutions like UWA. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much, Paul, for your time and your knowledge. And yeah, we will be in touch, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.